I am going to address a question many men ask me. Linda, am I normal because I have premature ejaculation? Hello and a warm welcome to the Sex Talk for Men podcast. I'm your host, Linda Connors, a sex hypnotherapist and confidence coach with over 15 years experience working with men who experience sexual problems. In this podcast, we will cover topics such as erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and sexual anxiety, as we explore new ways to overcome these by taking specific steps guided by me. So let's begin. So welcome, it's great to have you here. So in today's episode, I am going to address a common question I am asked by men during their initial consultation. Linda, am I normal because I have premature ejaculation? Is this something you've heard before? And then lastly, can you help me? This is a question that is actually quite common. If you're listening to this and you have premature ejaculation, and if you feel I am the one exception, if you feel you're the only man who has PE, if you feel like you can't get past this, or you are stuck, this is something you can't heal, fix, or change, then this episode is for you. So when men ask me this question, deep down, it's seeking reassurance that they are okay, that they are normal, that they are not the one exception. Men with premature ejaculation or any sexual problem often over-identify with the PE. And what I mean by that is this physical response becomes part of their identity and who they feel they are as a man. But here's the thing. Premature ejaculation is something that you experience. It is not who you are. And you may be thinking, what, Linda? This doesn't feel right. Oh my goodness, this is overtaking my life. I have constant anxious thoughts, feelings, fear, anxiety, sensitivity of penis, can't control my ejaculation. And this is having a huge impact on my relationship. And it's also flowing out on an unconscious level to other parts. I get that. I really do. I am not speaking from a place of someone who's never had their own personal issues. Since I was a child, up until probably my mid-30s, I'm now 51, I had anxiety, and at times it was quite intense, and at times it was pretty severe. And it was life-limiting. When I was living in London, I then developed claustrophobia, and that had a huge impact on my working life. If you've ever lived in London or visited London, you know how big it is. So sometimes the only mode of transport is the underground tubes. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that, of course, I don't know what you are going through. I am not a man. I am a woman. I have a very different worldview, a very different experience of life. What I do know is the impact anxiety has on the different levels of who we are as human beings. How fear impacts us, overthinking impacts us, how the physical experiences of the body can impact us. When I had severe anxiety and severe claustrophobia, I aligned that with my personality and my inner dialogue. The stories I used to tell myself was, I'm not good enough. This is never going to change. I can't even attend a meeting without having a panic attack. What sort of human being am I? And through my healing journey of that, and through my growth and personal development work, therapy, my own coaching, and my training as well, the work I do here, I don't just work with clients. I don't just put podcast episodes out. This is my way of life. What I share with you, what I share with my clients is something that I've gone through myself or I have created because talking therapy didn't help me. Just sitting there talking to a coach didn't help me. It didn't involve the mind, body, heart, and spirit. If you're thinking, I have PE, there is something wrong with me, I am not normal, I cannot change this, I want you to know that in terms of being normal, what does that mean anyway? But you are. You are uniquely normal. This is not something that has been set in stone. It is not who you are, it is something that you experience. Claustrophobia, anxiety was not who I was. It wasn't part of my identity, my personality. It may have felt like that, but it was an experience that I was having, a very uncomfortable experience, an experience at the time that I tell you what, I wish I didn't have. When we learn that this is an experience that we are having, it's not who we are, it is then easier to step forward and make change. I've had thousands and thousands of initial consultations with men. And there's a deep fear, an unconscious deep fear, and sometimes it's said and sometimes it's not, is I can't change. I am not fixable. I am not normal. I am the one exception. So if you are feeling that and fearing that as well, I just want you to know that you are not alone. You know, whether you work with me, continue to listen to the podcast, or find someone else to work with, PE is something that you experience. I know I keep repeating this, but it's really important. It's not who you are. It is something that you experience. It's not part of your identity. It's not part of who you are as a man. And I truly believe that any man with PE can heal and solve this. Of course, if it's a medical condition, you need to speak to your doctor. And sometimes you go into therapy or tried a hypnotherapist and it hasn't helped or worked. It doesn't mean that this issue is not fixable. It means you haven't found the right person to work with. In the initial consultation with the men that contact me, I always give them an honest feedback of whether I feel, one, we're a good match to work together, and secondly, whether my approach is going to support them on their journey. So even just taking a couple of breaths, if you're not driving, close your eyes and just breathe into the body from a place of acceptance of who you are and the experiences that you are having with premature ejaculation. If it feels too much to accept the premature ejaculation at this stage, because the anxiety, fears, or overthinking are just too much, there's no space for acceptance, that's absolutely fine. Start off with 0.5% acceptance. Start off with 1% acceptance. Because if you're not able to accept where you currently are, you're always going to have an inner dialogue that says you can't do this. You are not good enough. So taking a couple of gentle breaths now into the body. Open your eyes. Each day, even just do that simple breathing exercise, breathing in acceptance. On the out breath, receiving the acceptance, even if it's 0.5%, 1%. And every so often begin to increase it to 1%, 1.5%, 2%. Even taking a risk, 5, 10%. And before we finish this conversation here today, begin to think about what's one takeaway that you can take away from this conversation. What's one thing that you can begin to implement in your life for your highest good? And do that. So thank you for listening today. I really appreciate you being here. And I've decided to make some changes to my podcast to shift things up, to do some micro podcasts, shorter time frames, but also enables me to cover more topics as well. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear. I hope you have enjoyed this free episode. If you would like to work with me more deeply, you're invited to schedule your free initial consultation at sexualsolution.co.uk. The link is in the description. And thank you to the men who have reached out and shared how much this podcast is supporting you to make sexual changes. I wish you all the success on your continued journey. If you have found this episode and podcast to be of benefit, please consider following me in Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, liking or making a comment, and this will help the podcast to reach more men who are seeking to heal and solve their sexual problem. Thank you for being here with me in this space, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care and blessings.